Hey fruit faces, it's Clary Berry here. I want to talk with you guys about the paleo diet. I know I've done a lot of scientific videos and they're not the most popular thing, but we can all stand to learn a bit about, I think, the myths surrounding the paleo diet. And I want to share with you guys what some of my research has been because I think I have a few original points about this. So I've really taken pains to look into the paleo diet as far as what was actually happening during the Paleolithic era. So I think there are definitely a number of misconceptions about it. So I just want to kind of walk you guys through this pretty quickly here today, okay? So starting with, let's say, 21.6 million years ago is about the time that we had the earliest human-like primates. And keep in mind, at this point, they're 99.9, percent frugivorous. They may eat a bug or two out of play, but the main source of their nutrients comes from fruit and seeds and maybe nuts, but mainly fruit. That's why they're called frugivores. And, this is information that you can find yourself easily by, doing a simple Google search. So I'm not really gonna, I am looking at some in-depth stuff, but it's easily findable if you actually take the time to look. So 11 to 10 million years ago, this is a time when the climate changed. The ice, melted per se. Although, there wasn't ice everywhere. That's kind of a misconception as well, that the earth was covered. And what did we do? No, it wasn't completely covered. It was only, went down to certain points. But what happened in Africa was the tree canopy, had kind of disappeared. And so it wasn't as easily for the animals to travel through the tree canopy. So they came down to the ground. And that happened again about 11 to 10 million years ago. So 8 to 11 million years ago is when we had our last common ancestor with the chimps. About 8 to 6 million years ago, there was the actual split between chimp and hominoid, and our brains were increasing this point already. I just want to make this clear. This is one thing that is a huge misconception, is that our brains weren't, growing until we started eating meat. And that is a huge misconception that, again, is easily proven wrong if you just simply look into history, into this subject. So that's, again, our brains are increasing threefold at this time when we're still not using tools, still have no fire, still not eating meat, none of it, totally frugivorous, okay? And around 7 million years ago is when the hominids appeared, okay? So still during this frugivorous time, okay? So let's see, time goes on. One of the most notable of the different groups was Australopithecus, which was about 4 million years ago. And again, they're still frugivorous, okay? And they go on for a while. They have a really nice lifespan. They're around during that time period where we have the earliest known use of tools. The earliest known use of tools is about 3.4 million years ago, okay? This is a time that there is the first clear evidence of meat eating, okay? Earliest possible use of animal products, basically, is about, 2.5 to 3 million years ago, okay? So, again, 2.5 to 3 million years ago, meat use started 2.5 million years ago. First evidence of tools. So, it's interesting that right after this point, the Australopithecus dies out. Okay, like I said, they've been around for a little while, but they died out. And I want you to just keep in mind, I'm not sure exactly why they died out. I don't think there is any clear-cut evidence. But when you have, like Dr. Oz states, that 80% of all diseases in the history of mankind were caused by using animals, close proximity to animals, etc., then this could be a definite possibility of the reason why Australopithecus just died out. So it wasn't until actually much later on in the Paleolithic era, like the middle Paleo period, where there was more of a control. We had actual control of fire, and this is up until about 500,000 years ago. We're really able to control fire and really use a lot of different types of tools. Okay, now keep in mind, most of the brain growth, was happening during this period, but it actually slows down relatively quickly. You notice that about 1.5 to 2 million years ago, we have the Homo habilis, which, by the way, is much shorter kind of collective lifespan than the Australopithecus, and they had a reduction in brain size. And the Neanderthals, after that, even more smaller on the scale, like they were not around very long at all compared to Australopithecus, who mostly ate fruit for millions and millions and millions of years. These guys, the Neanderthals, were eating meat. Well, they've only been around for, like I said, a short period of time, and their brains decreased even more than Homo habilis. Okay, again, look it up, guys. This is easily found. You can even go to Wiki and find all this stuff. Like, it's so common knowledge if people would just look at what they're talking about instead of just follow fad paleo diets, with some guy who's trying to act like he's the greatest, paleontologist in the world, but he actually just is trying to sell books and health stuff. So anyway, I won't get off, rambling here, but Neanderthals lived shorter and they had smaller brains. Their brains were on the decline. And ever since that, guys, our brains have been on the decline. Basically, ever since we started eating meat, our brains have been on the decline. So just a few more things here. Lower Paleo, again, the more recent time lower Paleo, the furthest away, we were frugivores. We had the first evidence of eating meat and tools. The middle is when we were definitely using tools and definitely eating meat. So, and the upper, obviously we're widespread into meat, but we're also eating grains, which is a misconception. A lot of people say, we weren't eating grains ever until 10,000 years ago. No, dairy came around maybe 10,000 years ago, and then has only actually been widespread use for the past 100 years. But grains have actually, cereal grains from different grasses have been in use for millions of years, just like meat. So that is one thing that I think people need to look into. I still don't get it. Knowing all this information that I learned here and realizing that, the lower Paleo, why name something off of a period where we're changing so much? Why wouldn't, if you're really trying to get to real cavemen, like the real caveman diet is frugivores. We started off as frugivorians. We were evolved as frugivorians. God made us as frugivorians, and it wasn't until later that obviously during the Paleo period we figured out, how to eat meat basically. And we slowly figured that out and we slowly evolved on from it. And even the people like the Inuits who slowly evolved to this meat-eating diet, they're still harmed by it. So look that stuff up. Know what you're talking about here. Let's defeat all these lies about paleo, because vegan is the original paleo. So take care. Don't forget to eat your fruit. And watch out for all these people doing these crazy diets, trying to go into keto. And, how's keto going to work when you're drinking that beer on the weekend? Like, I just don't get it. Or when you're cheating with the ice cream, you're not going to be in keto. You might as well just have vegan ice cream. And save the earth and the animals while saving your diet. Anyway, I'm definitely going to go this time. I will see you guys later.